Imagine this, a peaceful afternoon, a 2-year-old playing joyfully in his backyard, giggling as he explores his little world. But then, in a split second, a deadly danger strikes. Yet this toddler, barely able to say a few words, somehow knows what to do next. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Ezra Porter and his heart-stopping encounter with one of the most dangerous creatures on Earth. Before we go further, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on that notification bell. But with stories like these, you'll want to stay tuned to see just how resilient the human spirit can be, especially in the smallest of us. Let's get into it. Ezra Porter was just like any other 2-year-old, curious, lively, and endlessly fascinated with the world around him. His backyard in Port Wakefield, a small town 100 kilometers north of Adelaide, was a playground of wonder for him. It was a sunny afternoon, and Ezra's mother, Miranda, was watching over him as he played, climbing on his new backyard playset with boundless excitement. To Ezra, every part of the yard was a source of new discoveries. Little did he know his next discovery would be one that could change his life forever. So the sun cast long shadows over the grass, and beneath those shadows lay a hidden danger. Without a sound, an eastern brown snake, the second most venomous snake in the world, was lying in wait, blending in with its surroundings. Well, known for its potent venom, the eastern brown snake is responsible for more snake-related fatalities in Australia than any other species. And in the world of snakes, it's fast, lethal, and unpredictable. Ezra, with his small steps and innocent joy, was completely unaware of the danger nearby. For the snake, though, Ezra's approach was an intrusion, and before anyone could realize what was happening, the snake struck. Ezra felt a sharp, stinging pain in his foot. To a 2-year-old, the sensation was confusing, even frightening, but somehow in that instant, he understood what had happened. This wasn't just an away, it was something much worse. Though he didn't have the words to explain his fear, Ezra knew one word: snake. His mind processed the situation quickly, and instead of freezing, he turned and sprinted back toward the house, his small voice calling out, "Snake! Snake!" His mother, Miranda, heard his urgent cries and immediately ran to him. She saw the look in his eyes, a mixture of pain and urgency, and her heart dropped. When Miranda reached her son, she could see the terror in his expression, his tiny face scrunched in confusion and discomfort. She looked down and noticed the small but unmistakable bite mark on his foot.
I said to Ezra, "Now where did it get you?" I cried. I was shaking.
Her heart skipped a beat. She knew the risks everyone in Australia does. Eastern brown snakes are no ordinary danger. Their venom can shut down the nervous system, leading to paralysis, internal bleeding, and ultimately death. And for a child as young as Ezra, the venom would spread even faster. But the mere sight of the bite was enough to send her into a state of panic, but she tried to stay calm for Ezra's sake. She held him close, her mind racing with fear and questions. What if he didn't make it? What if she lost her little boy to this cruel twist of fate? She swallowed hard, fighting back tears as she asked him, "Where did it go?" Her voice was shaky, her hands trembling. Ezra pointed to his foot, his innocent eyes trying to understand why his mother looked so scared. In that moment, Miranda knew they needed help, and they needed it fast. Without hesitation, Miranda dialed 000, Australia's emergency number. She clutched her phone, trying to steady her voice as she explained the situation. Her heart was pounding. Every second felt like an eternity. She could hear the dispatcher's calm voice on the other end, assuring her that help was on the way. But the thought of what could happen in those next few minutes was overwhelming. The venom of an eastern brown snake can cause death in less than an hour. Miranda knew that time was of the essence. What if the snake had injected venom? Her son's life could slip away in moments. She held him tightly, whispering reassurances even as her own fear threatened to take over. "And it's going to be okay," she told him, over and over, as much to comfort herself as to comfort him. Within minutes, the sound of helicopter blades filled the air, growing louder as it approached. A medical team had been dispatched, prepared for the worst. The helicopter landed just outside, and medics rushed out, taking in the situation at a glance. Ezra, though still shaken, was incredibly calm for someone who had just faced such danger. His tiny foot bore the marks of the snake's fangs, a stark reminder of how close he had come to catastrophe. The medics swiftly assessed him, checking his vital signs and securing him on a stretcher. Miranda's heart was in her throat as she watched, helpless yet grateful that help had arrived. And the medics reassured her that they'd do everything they could. Within moments, Ezra was airlifted to the Women's and Children's Hospital in Adelaide, leaving Miranda standing there, a mixture of relief and terror consuming her. As the helicopter lifted off, Miranda felt the weight of the situation pressing down on her. She had done everything she could, but now, all she could do was wait and hope that her son would pull through. For Miranda, the next few hours were agonizing. She made her way to the hospital as quickly as possible, her mind racing with fear and the haunting image of the bite on Ezra's foot. Every possible outcome played through her mind. She thought of how quickly snake venom could spread, how every second counted, and how, despite everything, her little boy had managed to alert her just in time. She clung to the hope that his quick thinking would save him, that maybe, just maybe, fate would be kind to them. So meanwhile, on the helicopter, the medical team monitored Ezra closely, looking for any signs of envenomation. They knew the symptoms to watch for: difficulty breathing, intense pain, nausea, and more. But as the minutes passed, they noticed something peculiar. Ezra wasn't showing any of the usual signs. His vitals were stable, his breathing steady. It was as if he had been spared the worst. But no one dared to breathe a sigh of relief just yet. They had seen cases where symptoms took time to emerge, and with a child as young as Ezra, they couldn't afford to let their guard down. So when they finally reached the hospital, Ezra was rushed into the emergency department, where a team of doctors was already waiting. Miranda, who had arrived shortly after, held her breath as they examined her son. The doctors asked her questions, assessed the bite, and took every precaution. They administered initial treatments, prepared the antivenom, and checked him for any symptoms of poisoning. As the examination continued, they began to realize that Ezra might have experienced something rare, a dry bite. In a dry bite, the snake bites but doesn't inject venom. It's a warning bite, something that occasionally happens when a snake is startled or feels threatened, but doesn't want to waste its precious venom. The doctors explained this possibility to Miranda, cautiously optimistic but still vigilant. Till the news brought Miranda a wave of relief she could barely process. She sat by Ezra's bedside, her heart filled with gratitude and disbelief. Her son had been inches away from tragedy, yet here he was, resting peacefully, his tiny body safe from harm. She watched him, marveling at his bravery, his quick reaction, and the miracle of his survival. She stroked his hair. Miranda felt a new awareness settle over her. This experience had changed everything. In a single moment, she had nearly lost what was most precious to her, and it was a reminder of how fragile life truly is. She vowed to protect Ezra, to teach him and his siblings about the world's dangers, and to ensure they were prepared for anything. For Miranda, the relief of knowing her son was safe was overwhelming. She had come so close to losing Ezra that it changed her perspective entirely. But every time she looked at the bite on his foot, a small but stark reminder of that day, she felt a pang of gratitude mixed with lingering fear. She knew they had been incredibly lucky, but luck alone wasn't enough. She was determined to make their home as safe as possible, and to educate others about the dangers that could be hiding just outside. When the doctors finally cleared Ezra to go home, the news spread quickly throughout Port Wakefield. Friends, family, and neighbors gathered to welcome him, celebrating his safe return as if he were a little hero. So many parents in the area began talking about the importance of teaching their children about snake safety, spurred by Ezra's experience. When in a town where snakes were not uncommon, The encounter was a stark reminder of how critical it was to educate even the youngest children about potential dangers. Miranda felt a new sense of purpose, wanting to share what she'd learned and help prevent similar situations for other families. As the days passed, Miranda worked on turning their close call into a learning opportunity. She made sure that Ezra and his siblings knew to stay aware of their surroundings, especially in areas like the backyard. But she taught them simple phrases to call out if they saw a snake, and she practiced what-if scenarios with them, teaching them to recognize the creatures that could be dangerous. Miranda also reached out to local schools and community centers, encouraging them to incorporate snake safety into early childhood education programs. She spoke with other parents and shared tips on ways to keep children safe in outdoor environments, especially in places where wildlife was common. And in a way, her experience with Ezra brought the community closer together. The people shared their own encounters with wildlife, their fears, and their newfound vigilance, all inspired by a 2-year-old boy who had faced down danger and responded with courage. For Miranda, every story shared and every lesson taught became a way to process her own fears. She had faced the possibility of losing her son, and by educating others, she felt she was giving something back to the community that had supported them. Back at home, Miranda made sure that their backyard was as safe as possible. She worked tirelessly, clearing out overgrown grass, sealing up any possible snake hideouts, and installing fencing to discourage animals from entering the yard. Her approach to the backyard shifted from casual to cautious, turning it into a safe place where her children could play without unnecessary risks. The family's daily routine changed as well. Miranda made sure to inspect the yard each morning, looking for any signs of snakes or other animals. But that became a ritual, a practice of vigilance that was shared by the entire family. So Ezra, young as he was, had developed an awareness of his surroundings. While he was still a playful child, his encounter with the snake had given him a level of caution uncommon for someone his age. Dr. Michelle Mitchell from the Women's and Children's Hospital, who had treated Ezra, praised his ability to recognize the danger and alert his mother. The medical team was deeply moved by Ezra's quick thinking and the miracle of his dry bite, and Dr. Mitchell took the opportunity to advocate for early education on snake safety. In an interview, she explained that children as young as 3 could be taught simple but crucial steps to take if they ever encountered a snake. Said it was a practice often overlooked, but Ezra's story brought the importance of early education to the forefront. Dr. Mitchell even began working with local organizations to create educational materials that could be distributed to schools and families, helping parents and educators teach kids about safety in a way they could understand. Ezra's story shows us how important it is to be aware. She said, "We can't always prevent encounters with wildlife, but we can prepare our children to know what to do. That preparation can make all the difference." Ezra's story quickly spread beyond Port Wakefield. News outlets picked up the story, praising the young boy's bravery and highlighting the danger of snake encounters in Australia. Miranda received messages from people all over the country, parents who were moved by her son's experience and inspired to teach their own children about safety. Ezra's tale became a story of resilience, awareness, and the incredible instinct of a child, despite his age, had been able to identify danger and seek help. The story served as a reminder that awareness and education could save lives, even in the most unexpected situations. Miranda used the media attention to further promote safety and education, taking every interview as an opportunity to advocate for greater awareness. She felt a sense of pride in Ezra, knowing that his experience was helping to protect others. For Miranda, every person who heard their story was one more person who might be inspired to take precautions and keep their loved ones safe. As the media coverage died down and life returned to a more normal pace, Miranda found herself reflecting on the experience and the lessons it had taught her. Her fear from that day was something she'd never forget, a fear so profound that it changed her in ways she was only beginning to understand. but it had also shown her the importance of awareness, of preparedness, and of holding loved ones close. Each night she tucked Ezra into bed, feeling grateful for his safety and resilience. Yet she knew that their family's close call had turned into a story with a message, a story that would remind others of how fleeting life could be and the steps we could take to protect it. For Miranda, it was a story of hope and survival, of the resilience of a 2-year-old boy who had shown wisdom beyond his years. Ezra's story left a lasting impact on Port Wakefield and beyond. His family, friends, and community learned the value of awareness, and people across Australia were inspired to prioritize safety in their own homes and outdoor spaces. The community held a small ceremony for Ezra, celebrating his survival and marking the experience as a reminder to all of them. They presented the family with a small plaque in Ezra's honor, reading, "In recognition of courage, awareness, and the power of resilience." For Miranda, the experience shaped her forever. It was a reminder of life's fragility, of the strength in small acts, and of the difference a single moment can make. She vowed to always protect her children, to teach them, and to hold them close, knowing how close they had come to tragedy. So her story reminds us that courage and awareness can come from even the youngest among us. It's a story of bravery, love, and the power of family. If you were moved by Ezra's resilience, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories of everyday heroes and lessons that inspire. Thank you for watching and being a part of Ezra's journey.